Hello, and welcome to Detroit Performs. I'm your host, DJ Oliver, and today we have traveled downriver to Wyandottes River's Edge Gallery. This gallery houses many found object artists who can only come out of an industrial city like Detroit. We'll take a look at some of the art coming up in the show. Our first segment takes us up the river a bit to Wayne State University, where Detroit School of Art teacher Cecelia Sharpe holds an annual camp for her orchestral group, Urban Stringz. The Urban String kids come together, and in just 2 weeks, we see how hip and funky string instruments can be.
We're all working together just to be a better community, and we're using music to do that.
Without Urban Stringz and without Ms. Sharpe, I really don't think I would be as far advanced in many aspects of my life.
Urban Stringz has been an awesome outlet for kids. We've had all sorts of kids in the camp from Detroit, Metro Detroit, tough areas, nicer areas. And one, it gives kids really an outlet to express themselves, to sink their attention into, to get away from their worries, but also learn how to deal with them.
I learned social skills, how to speak to people. I learned to put your ego aside. You need to put your ego down.
It actually brings out my passion for music while I'm here.
Detroit Public Schools, the music isn't really there right now, you know? So Urban Stringz is something where it's like, hey, we're over here and we're urban kids and we're playing all this cool music, you know? And it shows that classical instruments can be cool. They can be used for other things besides classical.
1, 2, swing it and swing. Urban Stringz started in 2007 with 8 students in the living room of our house, with my mom cooking for them. And our first song that we played was SpongeBob SquarePants and Do Re Mi. Why I started it is because when I was teaching kids, and I had beginner high schoolers. There were like 35 kids in a classroom. 35 high schoolers that have never played a string instrument. Really? So you're like, do high schoolers want to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or Mary Had a Little Lamb or DDAA? They don't want to play that. You have to connect to them. So I realized that in order for me to connect with them, for them to even come remotely close to playing this so-called boring instrument, I was going to have to give them music that they could relate to. And even though they're beginners, they still want to be relevant and current and play something that they feel good about. So we did that. Then I gave them music that they liked. And when they like the music, they take ownership for it. So I started the camp.
It's a lot more fun because you actually know the songs that you're playing, because we're playing Bruno Mars right now. We've played Beyonce in the past. We've played Lady Gaga. So it's nice to actually be able to relate to the music.
You know, you can feel it a lot more. It's a lot more feeling because it's a lot more current to you, you know? So with that music, you can still feel the vibe.
It's one thing to be classically trained, but it's another thing to have an edge on the competition and others your age when you can play jazz music or contemporary music. And also to learn how to play a certain song in 2 weeks that typically takes a whole school year kind of helps your development throughout the process. And there's not a lot of urban programs that teach string instruments because A, they're very expensive. And also, if you can't afford an instrument or whatnot, Ms. Sharpe will help you and help you through this program and through this process. So I think it's also needed for those that may not have access to it.
In addition to the music part, I was noticing that kids needed more than music. They needed love, they needed attention, they needed food. They needed someone to listen to them, someone to say, hey, I really care. There you go. That's good.
You also learn things like putting yourself aside and working as a team. Because in order to get this music done in 2 weeks, you have to be able to listen to other people, both your age and older than you. You have to be able to take positive criticism.
But please get over your fear of shifting so that you can play it in tune, because once you do, you'll find that it's going to be easier to play. This is about getting out of your comfort zone so that you can do something better.
Ms. Sharpe is a great teacher. I've learned lots of stuff from her. She really gets it in your head for how she wants you to play it, and how you're supposed to express yourself in a certain part.
That means that part went away. So it means you need to fill in the octave higher.
You can start in beginner with no knowledge, and you can work your way up to advanced. You know, you can do these amazing things. So it gives kids a smile on their face when they just started a week ago, and then they're playing a song.
If you're in beginners, you're learning how to read and what a quarter note is and what a staff is. Intermediate, they're working on building on their foundation. And advanced, they're shifting, they're playing by ear, taking the music off the paper. So it's not just the musicality of it, but it's also the maturity that goes with being in each ensemble or each level. There's a certain maturity that comes along with it and awareness as a budding musician. We have Miss Julia Stapleton. She is a retired Detroit public school teacher, and she is the first person who put a cello in my hand. Bless her heart.
F sharp, E.
She's very patient as she works with the beginners. She's tough, and she makes a miracle happen in 2 weeks.
E. F sharp really high. That's it.
Then I have Miss Natalie Frakes, who teaches intermediate. She is a dynamite teacher.
1, 2, 3, 4, up.
And then I also have Miss Ashley Nelson, who comes in and she does sectionals and she works with the students. She's a violinist.
Or you could do C sharp with your third finger and extend your fourth finger for D sharp.
This is an extremely intense camp of music. It's a lot of fun, but it's really intense because the expectations are high. At first, they're really eager because it is a song they know. I'll take my class, for example, Uptown Funk. They're like, yay, we're about to do Uptown Funk. And then they realize they can't play it. I mean, you can sing it, but you can't play it. And it takes them really developing other techniques or techniques they have and using it in a different way, because the classical techniques they learn, they use in this music, and then you build on that. Your theory of knowing what's a whole step and what's a half step in the theoretical point on paper is important, because then you apply it when you get ready to play.
When we're playing the Bruno Mars, we're doing it exactly how the song is played, so that's really fun, just hearing all the different parts and figuring out how we can bring everybody together.
The first day, it's like, oh my gosh, like, could we add an extra week, please? Because the kids are not ready.
It's really intense, and then it's almost like, oh my gosh, we're not gonna do it. But then the intensity turns into positive intensity, and then it begins to show through the music, and the second week it really blossoms.
When that final day comes, your parents are watching you, like, you know, they're proud of you, everything sounds great, like, it's a relief and it's a good feeling because you achieved your goal. And not only did you did, your whole orchestra did it, your whole class did it, you guys did it as a team.
It's real energetic. Kids working together, coming out on stage with the etiquette, the concert etiquette, the posture, the presentation, and then they're bringing style and funk to it too, not just the technique. So the parents are really excited, and I'm really proud of the students after 2 weeks, because I know how much they've put into it. I know how much the teachers have put into it. The kids that go through Urban Stringz, I hope that, well, I know that they're developing. I know that this is having a huge impact on them. The music is just the vehicle to show that you can think outside the box. You can be yourself.
To learn more about Urban Stringz and all the artists seen here today, head to DetroitPerforms.org.